Hey, Ravi. Thank you for joining me today. It is my pleasure to have you on this channel. I've always had a lot of learning from you whenever I talk to you. So today, I kind of want to talk to you about your experience with the blogging space. You are a person that I look to where you're doing daily vlog, right? Daily blogging. So before we get to that, can you tell, uh, you know, give a little bit about who Ravi Shankar is?
Thanks, Richard, and thanks to all the listeners who are going to listen to this interesting conversation for the next few minutes. Um, hi, I'm Ravi Shankar, based out of southern part of India, Chennai, um, an avid listener, reader, a practitioner of Agile for close to a decade. Coming from a mathematics background with a lot of testing before jumping into Scrum and into facilitation, training, coaching, consulting, and Scrum mastery for the last 5 years in full throttle.
So one of the things that I wanted to learn from you is what you do, right? So you do daily blogging, and you are a what I consider a prominent blogger. So how many places do you blog to? What other sites that you blog to?
Um, it initially started with me blogging within my organization's blog post, and later when I uh, gave a flavor of that to some of my friends in the form of a Word document, they felt it's fantastic, but they don't get an access to read some of the content within my org portal. So what they suggested is, why don't you start writing in Medium?
Mhm.
And that's how I started writing for Medium, um, with publications like Serious Scrum, Startup, with Product Coalition, and in all this chaos, I even started a publication called Scrum Outlet. And later I figured out, again, it had a limitation that people should have a license to or a subscription to get inside a Medium to read. And still I found a lot of my friends are left off without reading my content. And that's when I picked up the most popular democratic way of writing content in LinkedIn. So
Okay.
LinkedIn is where I started writing, and yes, that's creating a lot of noise synergy within the community I belong to, and also practitioners like you who are recognizing the scribblings I do.
So, so I would say, let's talk about the impact. So what's the impact of writing a blog? And then why do you blog?
When you go a lot verbal, when you speak a lot to practitioners, right, you get a lot of interesting thoughts, interesting ideas, and approaches which you can put forward on the ground. But the problem with thoughts, it has a very shorter retention period. You can't pile up a lot of thoughts beyond a point. And and you can't also hold up your perception for a longer period of time. You forget certain decisions you took, certain stand you hold for certain for a particular approach or a concept in nature. So that's when I thought, by writing it down, you leave it to be retained for a longer period of time than what you actually are. And it also gives me an opportunity to go back and see the kind of immaturity I hold by then, and kind of making me more vulnerable to some of those ideas I had some point in time. And did I change my stand? Do I look different from the time I wrote, or have I gone a little better, mature, or holding a different perspective altogether? I think all these aspects are coming handy when I write. And the most important thing for me, when I write, I slow down my thinking. It actually slows you down, deliberately slows you down. It makes you think before you write. And given the nature of anonymity with which you write and anonymity with which people can walk in and read and comment on your blog, it makes you more accountable, that you are putting yourself online to a larger quorum. Anyone can walk in, and every time I publish something on LinkedIn, I make it open to the larger quorum. I don't say to
Hmm.
my friends or to my friends and
Right.
connections, to everyone,
Yep.
because I want to hear from someone criticizing me or appreciating me or saying this is good, this is bad, or saying stop writing on this on a personal note. I'm still hearing few people correcting me by sending me a personal message, few people calling me up and saying this is good. So either ways, I think all happens because I write. And that's the impact I have. It's number one, it slows down my thinking. Number two, it helps me to reflect on where I was by then, and how far I've traveled from that thought. Third, it helps me to pen down certain things so I can read my own reflections after some point in time, and remember what triggered me to write something.
So in your journey, were there any um, difficulty, constraints, challenges that you had in your journey as a blogger? And can you share one or two of those challenges that you may have along the way?
The first challenge, I think, which is common to anyone, is coming out of your comfort zone and writing. There are many great thought leaders who can pen down, but they don't do it because they are a little shy from the fact that what if someone is going to look at my blog and start looking at me down, or treating me a little different than what I was before. So they feel holding up to the silence is a great virtue than
Hmm.
voicing out something on what's running in your mind. And so I was shyful. I was shy and withdrawing from a lot of conversations, which I'm currently enjoying, but couldn't do it before. So I was withdrawing myself from not going public, making my appearance public, and saying that this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm thinking now, and this is what I want to uh, comment about. So having a lot of shy, fear, and fear coupled with fear was one big blocker for me and challenge when I started writing. Second, me not being a native English speaker, I always had a worry about how good my grammar looks or how good the content looks. Trust me, when I started writing, till date, no thought leader or no renowned person commented on my content for the grammar. They all came for the value of the content or the message the content had, unlike on the grammar part. So I think everyone are a lot empathizing on the fact that we all have grown together. So take for example, some of my connections who are sitting in Netherlands or part of the Dutch area or in the Swedish area, they don't speak English, and they
Right.
get better with writing English, and they openly say I'm not here to showcase my vocabulary or grammar or the command I have on the English. Instead, I want to exchange or express my idea to the larger quorum to see whether this resonates with others. So people who think they're not native English speakers or native writers of English or have a great command, they withdraw, naturally thinking that
Hmm.
what if I write and my grammar doesn't look good?
Hmm.
We are here not for conducting any English grammar test or which essay gets selected for it. So I took some time for me to understand that people are looking for the content value, not for the grammar alone.
Hmm.
But yes, grammar is also important, but there are a lot of aids like Hemmingway app. There's a lot of aids like Grammarly, which you can install, which can come
Nice.
hand when you write.
Okay.
So can aid you as a companion when you write. So that those gives you a cushion for you to express your content upfront and get that feedback from these platforms before going public. So these two are some of the common challenges I had.
Okay. So I love the fact that you're sharing uh, the challenges, and then you're giving tips, right? Your apps that you can use to help you in writing, right? Your Grammarly and things like that. I've never thought of using those tools before. So one, I don't blog, I don't write because that's a big challenge for me. So for those that are looking to start blogging, are there
Mhm.
any advice that you can have for them? I know you shared one day you just need to put yourself out there. What other things can you share with them? Say, this is why you should blog, and this is one thing that you should do or not do.
Okay, I'll start with the don't. don't perfect your content, because the more you perfect the content, you will still perfect the content. There is never a time you'll get to see your content has reached a state where um, you are you are quite comfortable about publishing it. So I I don't wait for that actual thing to happen. So when I have a content ready, when I say ready, the storyline is ready. I immediately run through this basic Grammarly check, or the other app I mentioned, right? Hemmingway app. I hope you can give that in the show notes
Yep,
of your.
definitely. Yeah.
So that when you upload your content and then get that initial hygiene check, or a sanity of that content vet, immediately start publishing, because we Agilist, when we say we want to go in an incremental and iterative way, when we withdraw that ideology by keeping a content aging for days together, we give up on it, or we move away from it. Instead, the don't part, I'm again emphasizing: if you want to write; if you want to publish immediately. So there's no right time to get that content better. You can as well go for another blog, correcting on what mistake you made in the previous blog. So there's no harm in it. In fact, you have another opportunity to do that. So that's one thing which you shouldn't do. um, and have a story always flowing. Every time I write a blog, what I do, I don't publish immediately. When I say immediately, not within 5-10 minutes. I just give a pass, like an hour or two, go do something else, and come back and read the blog. Whether as a stranger now holding that perspective, is there any story in it?
Hmm.
Does it have any storyline? Is there a journey of a content starting from a problem statement, setting the context, and then flowing through it? So if there is no story, I think
Hmm.
it is not going to attract a reader.
Hmm.
So there should be some journey, right? You start explaining a concept, and then say how this concept can run in parallel to the problem statement you have,
Hmm.
and how someone as a stranger reading a blog can connect to that concept and then remember it, and then apply it in their real time.
Hmm.
So you should always ensure there is a story. There's a storyline, which is more important to it.
Why should an Agilist blog? Should they?
See, changing perceptions is one thing. What agile is all about, right? You reflect continuously on things that you want to improve upon. There's always an opportunity to get better at things. There's always a chance to um, look for new avenues to get better with the ways of working you are into. And blogs is one thing, right? You write, you pass, you reflect on that after some point in time, and either you have an eureka moment that you wrote something which you are yet to practice. So there is a moment for you to realize, oh my god, is that me who thought that way and still not come that far, or you've gone past it and doing something much mature, and you want to feel little, not, I wouldn't use the word guilty, but little better about having another blog post to correct the way you wrote before. So definitely, and a continuous adaptation mindset in me demands that you always write, reflect, improve, write, reflect, and improve. So I think, like, with the core base tenet of um, you publishing something, which means you deliver something, then you reflect on it, you improve, and again you deliver some things, right? I think the cycle works better when you write a content, you deliver, and then you reflect on it, and then you get some improvement ideas, and then you come write another blog and deliver it. So there's always a cycle that keeps moving, in essence of agile. So I think it's good to have your thoughts penned in.
Nice.
And and with this industry growing very badly, and you see one end, a lot of organizations seeking for an agile way of working, as a stable way of doing dealing with things. And also, we seeing there's a lot of strong demand for agilists in the market.
Hmm.
What better way to self brand yourself, and show to the world that you have in it, you have something in you that you can actually contribute. I think blogs are one easy way of doing it.
Okay.
And there's also a lot of equal pioneers like you who are doing a lot of video content. But for a lazy person like me, not knowing how to post a video, I think writing becomes a little easier, because I'm a little shyful, not knowing how to set a camera, shoot myself. I think even now you're seeing me seeing everywhere, right? I don't know where should I actually see. So this blogging makes much more easier. It's like a one-man show. I open the Word document, out, get it wet, and immediately go to LinkedIn. And the most important thing, it gives me a satisfaction whenever I publish, and you see LinkedIn drop a lot of stars drop down and say,
Right.
"Hey, your content is on live."
Yeah.
It gives me a feel that I'm sending some message to the world, which is going to last some more time. For a good example, I still lean on some of the articles of Mike Biddle,
Okay.
who's
Yeah.
but Mike Biddle is still alive in
Right.
my mind. I read his article on enterprise Scrum.
Right.
So somewhere I think if LinkedIn can last beyond my tenure of serving an organization, serving my job, I think even people can read those content beyond even my stint of serving an organization can still reflect upon it.
Okay. Nice. So, one of the things that I'm super curious about is your ability and the secret sauce that you have to be able to blog on a daily basis. And with that, is there, are you not, how is it that you continue to have content on a daily basis? And then for me, I mean, it's hard to do that. And, I would assume that I would run out of things to talk about. So can you share some of your secret?
Okay. Um, you being that one person who's appreciating and encouraging a person like me on the ground, I think if you notice one thing, I keep most of my content on a tactical level, which means it's day-to-day challenges, and definitely the space in which we are all operating. There are a lot of new ideas, emergent thinking, and new ways to solve the same problem, right? Which we bump into very often. For example, a planning situation on the ground, or let's say a daily scrum gone a little worse or better with some new challenges coming in or new ideas coming up. So because number one, I keep it a lot tactical. Number two, our jobs deal with a lot of talking to fellow practitioners on the ground, right? Definitely you talk to your own scrum teams, you talk to fellow coaches and scrum masters on the ground. So they always give you a lead on something which is good or bad, or something which is getting better. So there is always an opportunity to frame that as a question and try to add your view, tag your view to it. So, for example, currently I'm writing on the estimation approaches and how better we can actually do. So there's a lot of opportunities to reflect on what is in it for a practitioner when he enters the room for estimation. Why do we estimate? What is the ultimate thing to look out for an estimation? And what are the fallacy behind estimating your product backlog items? So there is always an opportunity. There's always an opportunity to look at the tactical things, look at the tactical things, and see how better we can give our add our perspectives or add our views to it.
Cool. So, Robbie, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for, agreeing to come to, and talk to me and for me to ask you these questions. So once again, folks, if you are watching this, Robbie has a daily blog that he does. Most of his stuff that he put in is posted on LinkedIn, and I will share his stuff on the description down below. So thank you, Robbie, for sharing your ideas and your time with us today.
Thanks a lot, Richard. It was very engaging and interesting to have a conversation with you, and great to catch up with you on this channel.
Likewise.